G'day and thanks for watching. So this video is about getting your firearms license in Victoria, more specifically about getting your Category A and or Category B firearms license in Victoria. When I was looking to get my firearms license, there wasn't a lot of content out there on YouTube or on the internet that was simple and concise. So I'm going to try and do as best as I can to make it simple for something that actually is very complex. Not too complex, so don't get overwhelmed by that, but hopefully I can cover everything and give you some guidance to help getting you one step closer to getting a firearms license. I used to work in the industry. I hunt, I collect guns, I'm a firearms enthusiast. We own some rural property, my family and I, and I really love the hobby. It's a really rewarding hobby. There's a lot of fun involved, and yeah, so all the best with it, and yeah, thanks. Alrighty, so the first thing you have to do is to contact your divisional firearms officer. This is done by a simple Google search. Just type in divisional firearms officer, and the VicPol, the Victoria Police website, will come up with an associated link to a list of divisional firearms officers. And generally they'll be at a police station that's somewhere in your municipality. For example, with me, I'm in Hume, and my divisional firearms officer is at the Sunbury Police Station. I can send him an email and get in contact with him. You have to do the same. What the content of that email is going to be about is about a firearms safety course. Okay, you are going to ask him or her ask him or her that you would like to attend a firearms safety course. Now, generally these courses have to be booked well in advance because, as you can imagine, quite a few people want to get their firearms license. It is a highly sought after hobby. So just allow for that time. Having worked in the industry before, I know that usually you're going to get into the third or fourth course after the current one that's scheduled to start. So allow 2 or 3 months of your excitement to be held at bay. So once he or her has responded to you, you then want to get a firearms safety course booklet. Now, it is available in PDF form, but it's also available in hard copy. I prefer the hard copy. To the friends and family I've helped to get a firearms license, I've always given them a hard copy. How do you get a hard copy? You don't have to speak to the divisional firearms officer. You can just walk into a police station in general. They'll have them there at the front of the counter to take, or you just speak to the constable or the attendant there and ask for one, and they can give them to you. If they tell you that they've run out, you can just go on the website and download the booklet. Now, just in regards to that booklet, a quick overview. The booklet isn't too complicated. It's not too thick, but it's got some good content in there. Read it all. Memorize it as best as you can. But a little trick that I've given to people is on the back of the booklet, there's 8 to 12 points. It's also the last page of the PDF, right? And those points are a summary of everything that's in the booklet, and you will be tested on those points. So the firearm safety course has a test, and that test is based on those points and in and around those points, pretty much. So it isn't a shortcut. Read the booklet, study the booklet, learn the booklet, but those points in the back are going to help you out, or on the last page of the PDF, are going to help you out big time. So hopefully the divisional firearms officer gets back to you and they confirm a date. Awesome, great, congratulations, exciting times ahead. So from that point, you need to attend the course. So allow for time before. They always tell you to get there half an hour before. In the course, essentially what's going to happen is you're going to be shown a slideshow. No, there is not a practical side of the course where you get to handle firearms. They stopped that. I think in the early 2000s, they used to have a few firearms on display, but I'm not sure if something happened or if they were advised not to. But yeah, pretty much there's no practical side. There's no holding guns. There's no practicing form or going through any of the points in the booklet and acting them out. There's none of that. You're going to be sitting there in a classroom of strangers at a police station with a projector, and generally, if it's the same guys, it's going to be 2 blokes explaining everything to you. The slideshow will be exactly what you've learned in the book, but there'll be pictures and videos and diagrams and things like that. Okay, now this is the big one. There's going to be a test at the end. a test made up of 30 questions. Those 30 questions are broken up into two portions. The first portion is 20 of the 30 questions are going to be regarding the practical content of the book. So things such as how do you the appropriate way to cross a fence with a firearm in your hand and things of that nature. Okay. Now, the second side of the test, which are the remaining 10 questions, are going to be the legal side. You have to get 10 out of 10 on the legal. You can get a minimum of 18 out of 20 on the practical. So just bear that in mind. You cannot get anything wrong out of the 10 legal questions. You can get a minimum of 2 questions wrong, a maximum of 2 questions wrong on the practical side. Okay, so it'll be the minimum pass is 28 out of 30, with the 2 incorrect answers being out of the practical portion of the test. After you have passed your test, congrats, you are then going to be given a certificate. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that that certificate has an expiry date. It's a year after the date of you receiving that certificate. Now, just quickly, guys, I think they are transitioning to electronic certificates that will be sent to your email. But as currently, the people that I've spoken to have told me that it's still being given out in a physical form. Keep it safe, keep it clean, because it will be used later in your actual application to get your firearms license. So that's pretty much an overview. I could have gone into a lot more detail, but like I said, I want it to be simplified. Everything else is somewhat self-explanatory, or there's enough easy to digest information out there for you to stumble across it or know it. But that's generally the overall of the firearm safety course and the divisional firearms officer and the firearm safety course handbook, that little booklet that also comes in a PDF form, and everything else around it. So yeah, that's your first step. Alrighty, guys, so you've passed your test, your firearm safety course, and you've got your certificate, right? So you've got a year to use that certificate. As we said, if you don't, it'll expire after that, and you have to reset the course. So now you have to apply. So a simple Google search again, firearms license application, Victoria, and you will be taken to the police.vic.gov.au/applying new license. And you will go to their e-portal. So up until a year and a half ago, you print it off and send it in. But now you get taken to an e-portal and everything is filled out online. I'll quickly go to the end. So once you've filled it all out and you've gone through everything, which is a long process, you'll actually have to print it out and send it in. So just bear that in mind. They may update the system. They're constantly doing administrative updates to the way applications are handled and taken, and they're also updating the laws all the time. So just keep an eye out for that. But as it stands, there's an e-portal services at police.vic.gov.au/applying new license. You can find that in Google for applying for your firearms license. So make an account, and you'll go to a page, and you'll click I'm getting a new A and B firearms license. Don't worry about category C, D. I'm not covering that. If it is applicable to you, I don't think this is the right video, because there's a lot more involved, and it covers different things. So you're on the application page. You're going to go through the basics, as you can already imagine. You're going to fill out your details, your date of birth, your address, your residential address, your postal address, and things of that nature. You're also going to go and get verified copies of the IDs the identification that you've selected to provide. So you can go to a chemist for that and pay a fee there, and they can sign off that they've verified the original with the photocopy that you are going to eventually send in. And I guess you'll move on to the more complicated stuff. So in Australia, owning a firearm or having a firearms license is considered a privilege. It isn't a right like it is in the United States. So you need what's called a genuine reason to own a firearm. Now, if you are a primary producer or a professional pest controller, your genuine reason is revolved around work, and you're also somewhat applicable for a category C or a category D firearms license, but you can still get your category A and B, right? they are the real minority. They are statistical outliers when it comes to getting your firearms license. So more related to category A and B shooters, you guys are hobbyists. You want the firearms license for target shooting, for hunting, for hobby pest control, for use on your private property, your rural private property or farm, as you'd like to call it, and so on. So how do you go about proving a genuine reason? So, the first way to do it is to join a gun club. So Shooters Union is a good gun club. Firearm Owners United is a good gun club. Sporting Shooters Association of Australia is a good gun club, and the Australian Deer Association are gun clubs. And I call them good because I'm a member of all of them, and I know what services they offer, and I have my favorites, and I have the ones that I'm not too happy with. There are others out there, but just be sure that they provide a genuine reason with their membership, because the 4 that I listed provide genuine reasons as to have a firearms license with their membership. So once you become a member, you can then contact their head office in your state, or in this instance Victoria, and they'll send you out a certificate of membership, and you'll send that with your application as your genuine reason. Now, the other options are if you have a friend or family member who has a rural property and there are pest animals or hunting animals or game species as they're called on there to hunt and shoot, you can get a letterhead from them with an ABN or an address signed off by them saying that they give you permission to hunt on their property, and that can also be considered as your genuine reason. Another way would be to get a hunting license with GMA, the Game Management Authority in Victoria, and you can get a GMA license for hunting quail, for hunting duck, for hunting deer, different species of deer. Some of those are associated with passing a test as well, so bear that in mind. But generally, it's just a one-off fee you pay, and they'll send it out to you, and you don't need a firearms license to have that, and you don't need a firearms license to be a member of a shooting association or a hunting association. So that'll be your genuine reason. That'll be attached, whatever applicable form from them will be attached with your application, pretty much. The second point that a lot of people get confused about, that I must bring up, is the LRD, the Licensing Regulation Division. They're the body that handle firearm applications. They do a background check, and there's a little box in your application that'll ask you for full disclosure, essentially. What they mean by full disclosure is everything. They're not just going to do a police check like a potential employer would do. They're going to check everything. So if you've been to court, disclose that, because generally you'll get your gun license after you complete your test between 3 weeks and 6 weeks if you do everything really quickly. If you don't disclose even the smallest of court appearances, that you can, it's not the end of the world, but you're going to have to provide a lot of evidence and explanations, and you'll have to get referees to vouch for you and things like that. And they don't deal with that swiftly and efficiently like they do new licenses. You're then put on the to-do later pile. And I've heard that from somebody who worked there. So what would originally have been, say, 3 to 6 weeks to get your license will then turn into 3 to 6 months. So disclose everything. I know a few blokes who have, some more severe criminal records, and they have succeeded in getting their gun licenses, but they've just been really transparent, really clear. They have overcompensated with all the information they can give, and background checks and statements from people that can vouch for them and things like that. So make sure you have full disclosure when it comes to ticking that box. Then you'll obviously be asked to provide verified copies of ID. That's really important as well. That's pretty straightforward. At the end of the page, as of today, once you get to the end of your application, you'll print off everything that you filled out on the ePortal website, and then you'll send it into LRD Victoria. And then you just got to sit and wait. And what you'll wait for is a letter congratulating you, or not really congratulating, but saying your application is successful. Then you'll wait for another letter that will have your fees, and also have it'll have fees for to go in to the post office and get your photo done, and then you'll send that back in. That's been confirmed, and then they'll send you your fees back. Pay those fees, and alongside the confirm of payment that LRD will receive, they'll also process your card, your actual card. And yeah, guys, that's. I know it was a bit all over the shop, but that's as quickly as I could do it. I didn't want to go into way too much detail on everything because there was a lot that I didn't cover, but that's the general gist of it. If you made it this far, thanks for listening. I really hope I helped. And yeah. Congratulations, you've got your official firearms license card. Awesome stuff. Okay, so now you want to buy a gun. Great, that's the fun part. So go to your gun shop. Speak to the attendant there. Tell them what you want, whether you've been looking at something or you find something on the wall, whatever it is. The catch here is that with your first gun purchase, you have to wait 28 days to pick it up. Okay, now I'm sure you can think of many reasons as to why Licensing Regulation Division and VicPol and the lawmakers of Victoria in this country have come up with that idea. But anyway, it is what it is. Generally, after you've purchased your first gun, permit to acquires have a 1 to 7 day turnaround. I've had permit to acquires come back on the same day. I've also had to wait 2 weeks for them. But when you buy your first gun, you give a deposit or you'll pay the full amount. The attendant will lodge a permit to acquire under your license number with the details of the firearm that you're purchasing. That'll be sent to Licensing and Regulation Division, and they'll put it on the first permit to acquire pile. And then after 28 days, that permit to acquire will be complete, and you'll get a text message from your gun shop, or you'll get an email or a phone call saying, congratulations, your permit to acquire has returned and it's successful. Come and pick up your firearm. After that, then you'll go through the usual 1 to 7 day waiting period that the rest of us wait for permits. So it's not like in America where you can go and purchase a gun off the shelf and walk out with the same day after a quick background check. In Australia, you have to have permits to acquire. Just a little bit of information about permits to acquire. So for category A, so after you've purchased your first one and you've waited your mandatory 28-day period, after that, category A permits are a background check. So essentially, the employee at LRD, Licensing Regulation Division, will receive your PTA, do a background check on you, make sure you haven't changed, none of your criminal history or record has changed, and then they'll approve that and send it off. Category B firearms, they'll do two things. They'll do a background check, and they'll also check how many firearms you have, right? And pretty much that's it. So yeah, just remember you've got that 28-day waiting period for your first gun. Alrighty guys, so you got your first firearm, awesome. Let's just rewind a little bit to a stage that should have been taken care of before or during that 28-day waiting period, and that is safe storage, where you store your guns in a gun safe. Now, I'm not going to talk about the statistical outliers out there who have a container underground of their home and it's decked out and whatever. I'm talking about the normal people who have a gun safe in their house, right? So that's what I'm referring to here. So essentially, safe storage is really important. It'll be covered in your firearm safety course. Okay, it'll give you an outline there. There's also quite a bit of information available on the Vic Police website, and also any of the associations will have a link on the website. So ADA, Sporting Shooters, Firearm United, Shooters Union, they've all got info on safe storage, so you can go to them and get all the details. But just a quick overrun, pretty much, if you have a gun safe in your home, it has to be bolted to the ground and or to the wall if it weighs less than 150 kilos empty. If it weighs more than 150 kilos without any firearms in there, then it doesn't have to be bolted to anything. You can just be leaning, sitting on the floor and leaning against the wall. So bear that in mind. Me personally, I like to bolt all my safes down. It's just peace of mind, I guess. You never know who's out there. You never know what circumstances you're going to come under. If you travel a lot or whatever, better to have it bolted. But that's the law. Your ammunition has to be stored in a separate receptacle that's locked. Last I checked, a locked and secure filing cabinet does count as that. But what some other people do is they just go and get other safes suited for ammunition, and that's about it. Just a quick one, guys. Gun safes aren't too expensive. You shouldn't be paying too much for a gun safe. I know blokes who spend $1,000 in gun safes. That's ridiculous. You can get a 3-gun gun safe for $150. A trick of the trade: if a gun safe says it can fit 6 guns, it means it can fit 3. Okay, so always halve the amount that the retailer recommends or the manufacturer recommends that it can fit, and that's how many it can actually fit. Okay, because you're accounting for scopes, whether you keep your bolt in or not, whether you have your magazines in or not, which you shouldn't. But anyway, your straps on your guns and things like that. So always halve the number that the manufacturer or the retailer says it can store, and that's how many it can comfortably restore. Also, if you get to the stage, I know this is early stages for those who are watching this video, but if you get to the stage where you own 14 guns, cool, awesome, I'm very jealous. What you should be doing, what the law stipulates is that once you get to your 15th gun, you have to have a visible alarm on the exterior of your property and motion detection alarm inside your home. So just bear that in mind if you've got some beautiful plans to own more than 15 guns or more, then you have to account for an alarm as well. That's pretty much the last portion of this video. I know that it's really general and I may have missed a few points here or there, but and also the laws may change after this video comes out, but that's the quick rundown of getting your firearms license and a few bits and pieces of additional info here and there. I wish you guys nothing but the best. As of the 19th of June 2020, all firearm safety courses have been put on hold. I have 6 people that I know who are harassing their divisional firearms officer waiting to get onto a course. So if that's in my circle, I can only imagine what's going on in the rest of Victoria. But anyway, when it starts up again, get straight into it. Do everything properly so that LRD have an easy job, Licensing Regulation Division have an easy job of approving your application, and that'll get you into the gun shop quicker, that'll get you out onto the field quicker, that'll get you enjoying the sport quicker. Store your firearms safely, transport your firearms safely, use them safely, and maintain them safely. That's the best advice that I can give. Although it's a lot of fun, it can be dangerous around the wrong people. So the last bit of advice I'll give you is be really picky with who you hunt and shoot with, because it takes one experience to hunt with a goose or a class clown for you to be put off. So just be really picky about it. But aside from that, it's safe, it's fun, it's awesome. Enjoy it. And thank you so much for watching. I hope I helped you guys out. Thanks.